Hey guys, wanted to come on here real quick and tell a story, but before I do, I wanted to talk about the story of Joseph. We know Joseph was the youngest of 12 brothers, and he was favored by his father. Now, he had a dream, and he shared this dream with his brothers, and his brothers were jealous, and they wanted to kill him, but Reuben said, no, let's not kill him. Instead, they threw him in a pit. And God has been telling me, don't share your dreams, ideas, goals, visions with other people unless He is saying it's okay to do so. There are a lot of people out here that have people in their lives that will discourage the dream or plot against the dream that you have. So just a quick testimony. I met a young lady it was about 2015 at a church. Both of us felt led to walk out of the service because we both felt convicted about the music that was being played in the service. And so her and I struck up a conversation. She gave me some scriptures because I was telling her that my sister struggles with mental health. And she wrote down all these scriptures from memory, front and back on the paper. And I was like, wow. And I would hear her speak, and I could just tell she had this anointing on her life. And we exchanged, well, I gave her my number because she didn't have a phone then. And even though this was like 2015, and we parted ways, and I sent her a request on Facebook. Well, she never responded to the request. And I thought that was kind of odd, but I kept going about my business. A few years later, I move out of my mom's house, and I get a text from an unknown number, and I'm like, who is this? And I respond, and it's the girl. Let's call her Sally. And Sally was like, hey girl, long time no talk. I hope everything is good with you. And I was like, yeah, everything's great. You know, I just moved out of my parents' house. She's like, awesome. And she had ended up, if I remember correctly, she had ended up inviting me to her church. And her church was a church I had heard about, but I did not want to go because it was like 25 minutes away. I felt like that was far, but it was a very powerful church, wonderful worship. And so I started to go there with her. And I remember one Sunday in particular, we were worshiping, and her father comes to get her car. I thought it was her car, but it actually was his car. And he came to get it, and she was very upset. And I remember giving her a ride that day. And then we hung out for a little bit at her house. And I remember one day we were on the phone at a separate occasion. We were on the phone, and I just was telling her something, sharing something about my family. And she's like, oh wow, she's like, my family is gonna do that for me too. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great, that's awesome. But it's like right after I told her, I was like, man, I probably should have not shared that with her. I usually don't share that with people, but especially not with people I'm not close with. But since we were close, I felt like it was something I could share. And so what ended up happening was a few weeks goes by, and we were both believing God for some things. A few weeks goes by, and she's like, I'm gonna do some prophetic instructions. I'm believing God for some things. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And I would go on this prayer line, and the prophetess had told us to do the same instructions she was doing. So I was like, wow, that's awesome that she's doing that. And I did my own prophetic instructions that I felt like the Lord was telling me to do. And I sent her a picture of what I was doing. And I went to bed. Like, I sent her the picture like at 7 o'clock at night. And I didn't get a response, which I thought was kind of odd. But I went to sleep, and while I was sleeping, I had a dream. And in the dream, I was doing exactly what the photo was about. And I was just in the dream, and then all of a sudden someone threw something on me. And I just felt something crawling on me. And I woke up, and when I woke up, I had that same feeling, like something was crawling on my stomach. I'm like, God, what is this? And I end ended up praying, worshiping all day. It would not break off. And that was a Friday night. And I said, let me log on to the prayer call. I logged onto the prayer call. It was led by a very anointed woman of God. And I was telling her, I was like, woman of God, I have this weird thing going on. I didn't even exactly tell her about the crawling feeling. I just told her that, I think I told her about the dream, or I just said something weird is happening to me. Yes, that's what I told her. And she was like, you have to be very careful. She said, there's someone in your life very close to you. You see her as a sister, but she's actually jealous of you. It's as if she wants to be you. And I was like, who is this person? Who could this be? And then I was like, oh, first I thought it was my mom, but I was like, no, that doesn't sound like her. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's Sally. And the woman of God said, cut off all connections with her. If she gave you anything, throw it away. So I did not listen to the prophetess's instructions, guys. And it's very important, if the Lord is speaking to you to do something, you have to do it. So I did not listen. And I went to go text her to tell her, hey, we need to take a break. And that same feeling came back. And I said, yeah, it's definitely coming from her. So since then, I have not talked to her. I blocked her number. And like a few years goes by and she sends me a request on Facebook. And I just delete the request. I was like, there's no way. I do not want to be close to this person. I don't want this person in my life. And so there was a secret that she was going to tell me. And I don't know what that secret was, but I have a really big suspicion about what that secret was. But this person just has like a jealous spirit. She was not only jealous of me, I could tell she was jealous of other people in her life as well, because I could tell by the way she would talk about them. You know, she would talk about her sister, and she would talk about her brother's wife, and I could just tell that it was not coming from a right spirit, and we had to be very careful. I trusted this girl. I thought because she's godly, she seems very anointed, that it was okay to tell her these things, and it was not okay. And I'm just here to let you know, just be very careful. There's a lot of monitoring spirits. When we talk too much, it allows these people to have information about us that they could use against us. So learn from my mistake, guys. Use wisdom, use judgment, because I'm still going through some things now from this situation. Maybe I'll mention this in another story time. Make sure to follow, comment, and like. I'll see you in the next one.